See, the whole system of realization is the art of hearing. Bhagavatam is realized, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is realized by the process of hearing. Navavida Bhakti, what is the first? Shravanam. Krishna in the 7th chapter, when he begins to explain Bhakti Yoga to Arjuna, what does he say? Mayasakta mana partha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yathajnasasi tat shunu. He says, hear from me. Parikshit Maharaj, what did he do to perfect himself last 7 days? He simply sat and heard. Of course, he did inquire, but he mainly sat and heard Shukadeva Goswami speak. Suta Goswami, while glorifying Shukadeva Goswami, he says, Samsarinam karunaya aha. Samsarinam karunaya aha purana guhyam. In order to show compassion upon the suffering materialistic persons entangled in this material world, he spoke the most confidential supplement to the Vedic literature, the Bhagavata Purana. So he spoke. So the whole of the Vedic literature is called Shruti, that which is to be heard. So hearing is the most important thing in devotional service, in spiritual life, especially for devotees. Our whole advancement is dependent on hearing. Even the holy name, though we say chanting, hearing, counting in japa, but of the three, the most important is hearing. The most important is hearing. So you have to cultivate the art of hearing, culture the art of hearing. For that, one of the first things you have to do is, you have to learn to actually sit down or situate yourself in such a way that you are able to completely give your full attention without any distraction, without anything else coming in the way of your continuous hearing. Otherwise, you are hearing, but it is interrupted. So what are all the interruptions and distractions for hearing? Just like you said, if there is noise from outside, that may be a distraction or a disturbance for hearing. So close the window. Very good. So there are external disturbances and there are internal disturbances. So external disturbances we all know. It's not difficult. So one of the things I tell is, sit down comfortably. Make yourself comfortable. Settle down. And then make a sankalpa, next whatever, half an hour or 40 minutes, whatever it is, the class duration, I am going to now sit and nicely hear Bhagavatam. Make this sankalpa in your mind. Of course, when we have got some responsibility of offering or attending to something in between the class, we have to attend to that. But that will be only that devotee who's got it, not the others. Usually what happens, if one devotee, pujari, in between he has to go for attending to the offering or something, during the class time only offering happens. Everybody will be looking, where is he going? What is he doing? What is the offering today? Aaj breakfast mein kya hai? You see, that distraction you have to avoid. That's why you have to make a sankalpa. And then, when you're hearing, so many filters are there inside the mind when hearing. Supposing the verse is quoted, Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. Immediately your mind will say, oh, I know this verse. I have heard it many times. Immediately that idea comes, isn't it? No, it's not whether you know it or whether you have heard it before or just yesterday you were completely going through the purport, every point. That is not the consideration at all. That should not be the consideration. Whether you know, don't know, or you got some doubt, don't bother about it now when you are hearing the Bhagavatam. You have to hear this in the context in which it is being told. The context is very important. You get a deeper understanding of something you already know by hearing in the context. We are going to publish one annotation of the Bhagavad Gita. Chanchalpati Prabhu has got this project. That is, if we take a verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 2.13, then where all Prabhupada has quoted that, and different context, how does Prabhupada explain that verse? You'll see what a depth of realization Prabhupada has got about that verse. And how much is being communicated by Krishna by speaking just few words. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained about the Atma Rama Shloka, Suta Goswami just says Atma Ramascha Munayo in response to one question by the sages of Naimisharanya, Rishi. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gets into the depth of that and says there are so many meanings, 61 meanings he gives to Sanatana Goswami. 61 meanings of that verse. So who can give? Madhvacharya was once challenged. How do you say Hari Sarvatra Giyate? It's Lord Hari who is glorified throughout the Vedas. So he said that I will explain the meaning of the names of the Supreme Lord Vishnu in the Vishnu Sahasranama. So it begins with Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. This is the way it begins. The first name in that Vishnu Sahasranama is Vishwam. So he began to expound how that Vishwam is a name of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. So he gave 100 meanings for that. The whole crowd, and especially those who were debating, they surrendered to him and said, you are the greatest scholar, you are the most realized personality. He did not go further at all. Even today, Vishnu Sahasranama, only the first name, 100 meanings. That's all that is there from Madhvacharya. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami, previously, before explaining to Sanatana Goswami, he had explained to Sarvam Bhattacharya. That time he had told about 30 meanings. When Sanatana Goswami requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have heard from Sarvam Bhattacharya that you explained this Atmarama verse in so many ways. Can you kindly explain to me? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in your association, I may be able to explain that in some detail. And then he's explained 61 different meanings. And then he said, actually there are so many more meanings. That is the nature of Bhagavata. That's the nature of the absolute truth. Unlimited. Everything about the absolute truth is unlimited. So in the Bhagavatam also, there are unlimited meanings. In the Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna has spoken, unlimited meanings are there. That doesn't mean we can speculate and come up with newer and newer meanings. No, it has to be received, understood from the proper source. One has to hear it from the proper source, learn it from the proper source. So, there is nothing which is like, I've already heard, I already know, I've studied this in detail. Nothing like that. When you sit for hearing, you hear. Even if the speaker is just repeating what Prabhupada has said. Maybe the speaker is just repeating the very lecture Prabhupada has given on this verse. Previously Prabhupada has spoken. Same thing the devotee who is going to speak has studied, come and is going to repeat that. So as you keep on hearing, I know this verse, Prabhupada's lecture. Recently I heard the same points he is telling. So nothing new. No. There is realization which is possible from the same words, and that happens in the association of devotees. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kathaha. So these words are full of spiritual potency. The words of the Bhagavatam, the words of the Bhagavad Gita. And that potency is realized only in the association of devotees. Only in the association of devotees it's possible to realize that potency to the full degree. So therefore, learn to hear without any filters in the mind. With an open mind, learn to hear. So much you can learn. So much you can learn. That's the art of learning also. Learning is hearing with an open mind, hearing with attention, hearing without speculation. The nature of the mind is, if something is told in the class, or you hear something while Prabhupada is speaking, then that sets off a train of thought for you inside. Then whatever after that train of thought triggers, then whatever after that Prabhupada has spoken or the speaker is speaking, you don't hear at all. So that much is lost. So for you to contemplate on what is being told is not the time during class. It is good to contemplate on what is being said here, or the speaker is speaking. Okay. But this is not the time to contemplate. Contemplation time is after the class, separately. So this discipline is required, mental discipline, intellectual discipline is required in hearing. This is the art of hearing. Disciplined way of hearing. And it is the nature of the mind and intelligence to always, engage in some emotions or some intellectual thoughts. That's the nature of the mind and intelligence. And so far, nobody has told us you have to discipline your thinking, you have to discipline your intellectual thoughts. Nobody has told us. We have given complete freedom. Neither we were trained or told that you have to discipline. But after coming to Krishna consciousness, when you start doing japa, First thing you start training or disciplining your mind. And then when it comes to studying Prabhupada's books or hearing Prabhupada's discourses, you have to train your intelligence to actually discipline the very hearing itself. So this discipline you have to culture. It doesn't come immediately. Today I decide, okay, I'm going to sit and nicely hear without any distraction, full attention. Okay, it doesn't happen. Old habit doesn't go away so easily. It takes years and years and years and years. Now I am telling you all this, I am also culturing, correct? In spite of being very, very attentive and careful, I miss out some points in Prabhupada's lecture or the speaker's lecture. So what I started doing is, when I'm taking notes while, generally I take notes during Bhagavatam class. Not that everybody has to, but I just do that, okay. So in that notes, sometimes I just note down which are all the verses Prabhupada is quoting during the course of his discourse. Which are all the verses he is quoting. So it's amazing that everything Prabhupada speaks, even if he does not quote the Sanskrit, the English word he speaks itself is a quotation of some verse. That is Prabhupada's standard. He is speaking strictly from the Shastra. But that doesn't mean that he has got a whole bunch of verses which he is going to now rattle off. No, in English or Sanskrit. No. It is very coherent. It is all connected. All connected. Very nicely Prabhupada connects. From the beginning of his lecture till the end, it is a nice smooth flow. He develops the subject very, very, very nicely. Chukade Goswami does that. Suta Goswami does that. Maitreya does that. Narad Muni does that. Krishna does that in the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever I do this Bhagavad Gita overview, people think that Bhagavad Gita is an assortment of topics. Because Krishna has to give the essence of the entire Vedanta philosophy in just 700 verses. So it's an assortment of topics. In brief, Krishna is mentioning. No, that is not the correct understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is explaining different things in the flow, right from the first verse up to the last verse, the way Vyasadeva is presented. Of course, all the verses are not spoken by Krishna. But the Bhagavad Gita itself, the way Vyasadeva is presented, 700 verses, is a continuous flow starting from the first verse till the last verse, 700 verse. So that flow, if you try to trace, it's amazing. It's amazing how every verse is connected to the next verse. And this flow is not just one particular stream that is flowing. There are unlimited streams in that flow. Sometime later I will tell you what are the different streams that are possible to be traced while seeing the connection between the verses. There are many ways of seeing the connection between the verses. Depends on which stream you are holding on to. Just like the Ganges, when it starts flowing from Gangotri, it branches off into so many tributaries on the way. Is it not? Ultimately, all the tributaries will reach the ocean. But so many tributaries. That way, Ganges is flowing this way, this place, that place, some other name, some other tributary. So Prabhupada says, in India, all rivers are holy rivers because all are either the 7 holy rivers, or they are tributaries of the same 7 holy rivers only. So like that, in the Bhagavatam, whatever be this question or the answer, or in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever be Arjuna's question, and correspondingly whatever Krishna answers, there is a flow, and you have to carefully study that flow. Similarly, when a particular verse is taken and the verse is discussed, you have to catch the flow. For that you have to give attention and you have to be attentive. What is next, 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 next? Just like I give this example. Supposing you ask me how do you go from here to IIT Powai? So if you want to give me directions, I'm driving, you say get out of this place, take a left, then you will see one traffic light. At the traffic light you proceed straight or you take a right. So step by step will guide me. Correct? Same way, you are supposed to understand when you are hearing next, 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 till you reach your destination, till the class ends. In between, you cannot afford to miss out anything. Just like while giving directions, if the person who is giving directions misses out one turn, gaya na? Galat ho jayega na? I'll end up somewhere else. Or I may not find the destination. Right? Some problem will happen. Similarly, when you are hearing somewhere there is a break, you miss out. You don't get the real point. So you have to culture this art of hearing. Simply by hearing, you can realize Krishna. Simply by hearing. No need to do any big tapasya, big study, nothing. Just hear, and then you can realize this stuff. What is not possible for jnanis after studying the Vedas for millions of years, a devotee simply by attentively hearing from the proper source, he realizes. So many times I have experienced this. Like somebody asked me a question, I don't know the answer. What I have to do? I have to merely go into Prabhupada's books and carefully study some portion where Prabhupada has explained it. Now, I can just recollect even from a previous lecture I have heard, either in the Bhagavatam class or by Prabhupada, by somebody else, whatever. The answer is there. Answer is there. I have already heard that. But I have not heard properly. I have not cultured the hearing. Therefore, I am not getting the answer. If I just recollect the classes I have heard, I immediately get the answer. Any question anybody asks is there in what I have heard from Prabhupada, from the Bhagavatam, from the Bhagavad Gita, from any speaker. It's there. The answer is there. So you have to treasure this hearing. What you have heard, you have to treasure that. It's not something just meant for today or just meant for some preliminary understanding. No. It is for eternity. It is for eternity. So, please pay full attention and try to hear. It will take some time for culturing this hearing and coming to some level of, good attention, nicely hearing. Then you will begin to relish Bhagavatam class. I look forward to Bhagavatam class. Always I am waiting for an opportunity for sitting and hearing Bhagavatam class. And that also particularly the class like this. Of course I sit and hear sometimes when The class is not there, other times. But that is also not as effective as hearing in the association of devotees. Hearing in association of devotees is very, very, very special. It's something mystical about it, that you cannot expect the same benefit when you hear separately. Though it is not wrong or it is not bad idea to hear even other times. But this is very special. Try not to miss this as far as possible.